Good evening. Thank you, Sakina, for that nice introduction. And I'd like to thank my colleague, friend, and partner for many years, Susan Wetzel, for nominating me for this prestigious award. I'd also like to thank the Dallas Women Lawyers Association for honoring the award recipients this evening, and especially for being such a positive force for the past 50 years in working to elevate the standing of women in our profession. I don't need to recite to this audience the many studies that have shown the benefits to companies of having women in leadership positions. And while progress is being made, many law firms and legal departments still lag in promoting women to these positions. So it is institutions like the DWLA that are vital in helping women make these changes happen. So for those of you listening that have not yet become members, I urge you to do so. I am humbled and truly honored to be given this award named after such a distinguished lawyer. When I moved to Dallas in 1982, fresh out of UVA Law School, I knew James Coleman was a named partner in a law firm, but I had little appreciation for what an exceptional individual he was. But over the years, it became impossible not to notice the imprint he had on the Dallas legal community. In almost 7 decades of practicing law, he achieved unanimous acclaim for his professionalism, his ethics, and particularly for his insistence that women be given the same opportunity as men. And although I never knew Mr. Coleman, I did know one of his peers, another legend in the Dallas legal community, who was also insistent upon giving women their fair opportunity. And that man was Dick Haynes, the founder of our law firm. In 1976, when there was a lawsuit filed against several major law firms for their refusal to hire women, Dick hired a young woman graduate from the University of Texas Law School named Nina Cortell. And how fortunate we all are that Nina came to Dallas and has blessed us with her leadership and brilliance in the practice of law. But Nina was not alone. When I arrived, we had several other women: Noel Hensley, Jan Sherry, Ann Sagert, and many more were to follow. And each of these women became partners and leaders in our firm, and each blazed the path for new generations of women to follow. So I had plenty of opportunity to see strong women leaders succeed. But Dick wasn't acting alone. Dick, together with Mike Boone, Robert Wilson, George Bramlett, and many of our other early partners, were all steadfast in their commitment to the advancement of women and giving them an equal opportunity to succeed. One specific example of this commitment happened shortly after I joined the firm. It's hard to believe, but less than 40 years ago, women were not permitted to sit in the main dining room of the various dining clubs around town. Haynes and Boone and several other prominent Dallas lawyers gave the clubs an ultimatum and resulted in a change in that policy so that women could sit with the men in the dining room. It seems difficult to believe today, but without Dick and others, and I feel certain James Coleman was one of those men, joining together to take a stance, who knows how long that archaic system might have survived. And the point that I'd like to make this evening is that while we may not all have the same opportunity to right such an obvious injustice, I hope each of you realizes, particularly the men in the audience, that taking a stance when you see slights directed at women is vital, it's important, and it is an absolute must-do for each of us. And by injustice, I mean that in the broadest possible sense. Each of us likely encounters some form of discrimination from time to time, and it's easy to let it pass. But I urge you not to do so. Encourage your colleagues to give every associate an equal opportunity to succeed, regardless of race or gender. Do not let your clients or your fellow workers exercise bias against women, and be particularly vigilant for implicit bias and lend a helping hand when possible. And of course, most of all, give the women you work with the opportunity to demonstrate their abilities. That's all they're asking for. In conclusion, let me express how truly touched and honored I am to accept the James E. Coleman Jr. Her Champion Award this evening. It really does mean so much to me to realize that I've had some success in furthering the careers of the women I've had a privilege of working with over the years. However, I have to be honest, it's easy to be a mentor when your mentees exhibit such eagerness to learn and accept responsibility. Monica, Sakina, Corey, Aaron, Patricia, Kelly, Ellen, so many more. I have no doubt you were instrumental in me getting this award, and I need each of you to know from the bottom of my heart that it has been my true joy and privilege to work with each of you and to see the rise to success you have each had in your careers. When I retire, I will, of course, look back on the memorable closings and war stories with fondness. But what I will be most proud of is not the billings, not the collections, not the client pats on the back, but rather the success and growth of the lawyers I've had a chance to mentor. So thank you all for that opportunity, and you know who you are. And thank you once again, DWLA, for all that you do for Dallas women lawyers and for this incredible award, which I humbly accept. Thank you and good evening.